Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Uncle Matt here, live on a Sunday morning, a little bit unusual for the channel, but since we didn't do our usual Friday night live stream, I thought, I wanted to get one in at some point in time. And then after what went down last night at Survivor Series and with the Titans game coming up this afternoon, felt like a good time to jump on the channel and catch up with what all's been going down. I think the Cody Rhodes catchphrase, what do you guys want to talk about, is pretty fitting here. But if you're not in the wrestling loop, we'll start with that just because that was like the big story, at least in my world and the people, who are interested in the same stuff as me, professional wrestling. CM Punk made his shocking return to WWE last night in the Survivor Series. At the end of the show, they put the graphic up that looked like they're about to go out and everything was over. Boom, cult of personality hits. CM Punk walks out. Pandemonium ensues in Chicago, his hometown, where he's as over as anybody has ever been in any particular town. So crazy, shocking. A lot of fallout's been going on overnight with the wrestling journalists like Dave Meltzer and Sean Ross Sapp trying to gather information and put stuff out there after they had for, months, basically going all the way back to All In when CM Punk was fired from AEW, said their sources were saying he wasn't coming back to WWE, and then boom, he's right there where everybody expected him to be. So we'll get into that a little bit. Then I'll talk about the Titans game, which we're going to later today. As Tornado here asking the chat, am I going to the game? Yep, I'll be there later today, this afternoon. Be doing a vlog there. So tomorrow on the channel, you'll get a game day vlog from whatever happens in this mess of a game. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So timeline of things, CM Punk gone from wrestling for like 10 plus years after his fallout with WWE. They actually fired him on his wedding day. Doctor, who he talked about in his podcast with Colt Cabana, where he laid out all his grievances with WWE, then sued him. So that's all going back. This lawsuit eventually ends his friendship with Colt Cabana, ruins that, destroys everything, which the fallout of his friendship with Colt Cabana was one of the key catalysts to some of his problems in AEW. Whatever. 8 years later, he goes to AEW. Everything seems smooth, big hit, big deal. He gives them a jolt of energy, puts them on the map. Things seem to go well. He gets injured then. He's out. And right when he came back, things just seemed to be a little fishy when he came back from his injury. He starts saying things. There's some issues with him and Adam Page where Adam Page said some things in some promos he didn't like. So he comes back and he says some things about Adam Page. A famous all-out scrum brawl out where he talks crap about basically everybody in AEW to their face. He's sitting there right next to Tony Khan talking crap about Tony Khan to his face. Goes back into his locker room. Young Bucks, Kenny Omega confront him. A little bit of a fight breaks out. He's gone for the better part of a year because once again, he's injured again. Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are also suspended as part of that. So everybody's just gone. It's a weird situation. Comes back. Did he even last a month when he came back from all that? I don't know. I don't remember. Like less than a month, it felt like. They launch a new show on Saturday nights. It's basically supposed to be built around him. They're going to do separate brands with, Kenny and the Bucks on one show, him and his people on the other show. I don't think he lasts a month. Gets in a fight with Jack Perry at All in London. Gets fired. All right. So a lot of those words probably don't make sense if you don't follow wrestling. I was just saying words, and you're like, what are these words even mean? So he's been fired from AEW, and at the minute he got fired from AEW, everybody said, well, WWE in a few months has Survivor Series in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown, where he always gets these huge pops, these huge reactions. Would it happen? Will it happen? And pretty much from the get-go, when people started asking those questions, pretty much everybody in wrestling media, like the top names like Sean Ross Sapp, Dave Meltzer, Mike Johnson, were all saying, anything's possible, which is true in wrestling. We've seen 100 times over. Ultimate Warrior came back to WWE. Bret Hart came back to WWE. Said over and over again, anything's possible. It can always happen. But repeatedly, even up until like yesterday and this morning, people were saying, sources within WWE say it's not happening right now. Fast forward to the end of Survivor Series, it happened. CM Punk showed up. Now, I don't know that much about, journalism. I'm never, in it. There's little things I've picked up over the years from just following sports, following news, following entertainment news. And in this one, it's very weird to me that they were so adamant that he wasn't coming back, or that at least their sources were saying at that point in time there was no talks, that he wasn't coming back. This is where it got a little weird last night. I'm not normally like a tweet at people person, but I was like tweeting questions to Sean Ross Sapp because he released a story, that had all the information that they'd gathered so far about the CM Punk situation. And in the story, it said, I want to see if I can pull this up because I want to quote it directly. I don't want to misspeak here. Let's see. Let me get it pulled up here. All right. So it says Fightful, that's the website he works for, was told on November 19th that CM Punk and Triple H had a very productive hour-long conversation that mended fences between the two. The day before, so that's what they put out last night after the show. The day before, Friday, he had a big Q&A where he basically was just repeatedly saying everything's I've been told is not happening. He said there was a question, have WWE and CM Punk had talks? He said, not to my knowledge. As of September 29th, we were told that contact hadn't been established and that there were feelers out to WWE to gauge potential interest. A member of Creative was told in early November that talks had not happened. So that's what he said Friday. Then last night he said Fightful was told on November 19th that CM Punk and Triple H had a very productive conversation. That could be misreading that. He may be saying that they were told that meeting happened on November 19th. I originally read it as they were told, like Fightful was told on November 19th. That's when they got the information. I could be misreading that, and then maybe they just now learned that on November 19th, Punk and Triple H had a productive hour-long conversation. I don't know. Either way, I think it's really weird that just like they were so adamant that there was nothing happening. There was sources kept saying, and like, if that's what their sources were saying, that's what their sources were saying. But I think either the information had got to them and they didn't want to burn their sources. Like they were told like, hey, this is happening, but just don't let it get out. And they're like, okay, we won't say anything because we want to keep in good standing with our sources within WWE, because the story that it was just thrown together last minute, that it was all put together and like nobody knew but Triple H. Like Triple H, Nick Khan, I think are the two ones that have been reported to be the only ones who really knew what was going on. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because there had to been so many moving parts to getting him in. It's not like you could just like walk him in the back door, throw him in the ring and be like, oh, he's back. Look, there he is. Because Cult of Personality is a song they have to license. Now, it's possible way back when he was in WWE back in the day, they signed a deal to use the song in perpetuity. They might have done that just because like, on DVDs, the network, stuff like that, where you'd keep airing it, maybe they had to do that. But there's been other examples where they haven't done that with like the Undertaker's like copyrighted music, like American Badass and Roland, where you go back and watch it on the network now. A lot of times they've dubbed over with some like generic music. So unless they signed a deal to use Cult of Personality in perpetuity, they would have had to re-clear that at some point in time once the CM Punk deal was done. And that would involve lawyers, that would involve production people, that would involve, more than just Triple H and CM Punk secretly working behind the scenes. Two, along the same vein, all the little video board stuff that pops up with his name and his graphics and everything like that, that had to be coordinated, because I don't think you would just have that preloaded and just sitting there like on your, like I don't know how all that production stuff works, but I don't think that would just be sitting there preloaded like for 10 years going, well, just keep the CM Punk files in case something happens. And also they would have to be specifically drawn up and designed for those video boards. This isn't like, Monday Night Raw, especially the old set with the huge Titantron where you just have whatever videos you want. You can put them up there anytime. This was a very specifically designed set with video boards in certain places. And apparently it was also redesigned and redone during the week. I was told they had sold so many tickets in Chicago that they shrunk the set and made it to like a smaller set where they could open more seats. So to be able to get his video graphics ready and set up to be able to do that would have taken some coordination, would have taken production people, would have taken a lot of people beyond just Triple H and CM Punk. Third one, they put t-shirts on sale for CM Punk like right after he made his re-debut. So that had to be coordinated with like the staff from WWEshop.com, graphics, motion, production teams. Like, so there's more people involved than what they've let on. Like Triple H, kind of said like, yeah, it was pretty much just me and Punk talking it out. Nick Khan jumped in. He went as far as to say like TKO, the leadership of TKO didn't know about this, which I think is not possible. Maybe like the highest level people like didn't know, but like the money, the contract, the deal they probably signed CM Punk to had to have been cleared by somebody other than Triple H and Nick Khan. and also bringing back a person that's had such a volatile history with the company at a time when the company's got a lot of financial questions post-merger with, the lawsuit that's coming at UFC from Kung Lee. Look that up if you need any more information about the potential financial troubles they could be into. Just to me, it doesn't really ring true that nobody could have known about this at the higher levels of TKO. Like, to sign this guy who has a legal battle with the company in the past, you know, feels like something you would have had to got cleared by the higher ups, that you would have had to run by some people. It wouldn't be something you could just like. It seems like they do kind of let WWE do its own thing, but something of this level had to get cleared, had to be discussed, had to be approved. I don't know. There's just some fishiness to the claims that nobody knew, and it was the best kept secret in wrestling history type thing. And a little disappointing that the likes of Meltzer and Sean Ross Sapp were so adamant that it wasn't happening, or that they were being told that it wasn't happening, that they couldn't have sussed it out and figured it out a little. Because I mean, just from a logical standpoint, it always made the most sense in the world for them to sign CM Punk and re-debut him at Chicago, because it'd be a huge pop in the moment, and it's going to be a huge blow, at least perception-wise, to AEW. This guy went there, had a cup of coffee, and now he's back in the big time. That's going to be the storyline they're going to sell, just like they did with Cody Rhodes. But we'll see what's going to happen there. A lot of come out of it, a lot of development. But like I said, something doesn't add up about the timeline of it was so secretive, nobody knew about it. But these guys, Meltzer, Sean Ross Sapp, who, you know, you have to pay money to subscribe to the Wrestling Observer. You have to pay money to subscribe to Fightful. So they're supposed to be these guys who can figure all this stuff out, get all this information, get all these details, and they completely missed on this one. Kind of seems to me like, once again, I don't know, feels to me like they should have known. And if they did and then didn't share that information, they were probably doing so to protect their sources. I don't know. That's all just me kind of speculating stuff there. I don't know. It's weird. It's a little fishy. If you follow wrestling, if have ever read The Observer, read Fightful, those type of things, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But if you're not a wrestling fan, this all just seems like mumbo jumbo and gibberish that I've been rambling about for 13 minutes now. So let's wrap up there. It's crazy. I realized that as soon as CM Punk came out last night, I was like, wait a minute. Monday Night Raw is in Nashville this week. The big follow-up to Survivor Series, the CM Punk's return, is going to be right here in Nashville on Monday night. And he is, according to Meltzer, scheduled to be at Raw. So I jumped online immediately and bought tickets, like upper deck, like $30 tickets. Nothing spectacular. But I'll be at Raw Monday night to see where this goes, see what the next development in the CM Punk story is. There's also some stuff about like other wrestlers who weren't happy that CM Punk returned. Seth Rollins, there's a lot of videos going around that fans took of him like flipping CM Punk off and cussing at him and acting like he was hugely enraged by CM Punk arriving. Supposedly that's a work. I kind of thought it was from the get-go, just because Seth Rollins knew he was going to be videoed. He knew people could see him. And he was being held back by Michael Cole, of all people. Like, Michael Cole could really hold him back if he really wanted to go start something with CM Punk. So supposedly that was a work to start an angle, to start the build to eventually we're probably going to get a CM Punk versus Seth Rollins match. Makes a lot of sense, perfect sense, because Seth Rollins has said some stuff about him in the media previously. But supposedly the person who was actually really upset, truly in real life, not kayfabe, shoot mad. These are, once again, words that make no sense to people that don't know wrestling. Drew McIntyre, apparently they had told them before the match, that people who were in the main event, the War Games match, that CM Punk was returning at the end of the match. Drew was mad about it throughout the day, but then apparently he calmed down later. But as soon as the match ended, he stormed to the back. He didn't hang around to be kind of sitting out there gawking at CM Punk. And apparently he got his stuff on and left like right away, like didn't stick around, didn't really talk to anybody, and was pretty upset and mad about the whole thing, which is interesting because his contract is supposedly coming up early next year. We'll see what happens there. It's interesting. Once again, I'll be at Monday Night Raw. There will be a vlog from Monday Night Raw. More reasons to subscribe to the channel, including tomorrow's game day vlog from today's Titans game. Let's talk Titans. Not a whole lot to say about this game. I mean, honestly, we know where the Titans are at this point in time. They're a broken team, mentally, physically, just not really capable of performing. Talk ad nauseum about what the issues are. Nothing's changed since the last time we did a live stream and discuss what's wrong with the Titans. Offensive line still sucks. Secondary is still relatively weak. It's crazy. We're talking on Thanksgiving. Me and my cousin were sitting there talking, and it's like went into the season feeling like there were certain pieces to the puzzle that were there that could, like, hopefully help the team quickly. But the more you look at it, like he was asking me about what I thought about the draft and stuff like that, and I'm like, we need like 50 new players, like 50 out of 53 on our roster. We need new players for. Like, there's maybe punter, Jeffrey Simmons, hopefully Will Levis, but I mean, still small sample size on him. Can't like fully say he's the man, he's the quarterback of the future, but there have been positive signs there. So I mean, really outside of those, and maybe Roger McCreary as a slot corner, Armani Hooker, I guess you could make a case for outside of like those like 4 or 5 players. Just about everybody else on the team could be replaced and maybe should be replaced. So I don't know. This is going to be a bad one. 3-7 Titans taking on the 1-9 Carolina Panthers. I hope nobody has to watch this that's not a fan of either one of the teams. I hope this game doesn't get like widely broadcast on Red Zone. I hope, like, because nobody should be subjected to watching this game unless they're actually a fan of the team. And the fans of the team, we shouldn't even have to watch this. This is going to be terrible. And I've been saying, I'm not one of the people who's going to throw Mike Vrabel on the hot seat. I'm not going to be one of those people who's going to, burn the whole thing down, throw out the baby with the bathwater type person. But if we lose this game today to the Carolina Panthers, who are 1-9, and look to be every bit of a 1-9 team, not just like, you can make a case for us where there's a few games, a few things go our way. We could have won a few extra games this season. Definitely. Like, go back to that Saints game week 1. We could have won that game. I think outside of the Browns, even the Jaguars game where we kind of got blown out last week, if we don't have that fumble early that just completely shifted momentum, and this is what we do. This is why we're so stupid as sports fans. I'm sitting here telling you how a 3-7 crappy football team could maybe be better. They suck. They suck anyway. But the point I was trying to make is the Panthers look more like a 1-9 team than the Titans look like a 3-7 team, if that makes any sense at all. So that being said, if you lose to a 1-9 team, a lot more questions have to be asked. And I'm still not going to jump to say we got to fire Vrabel or putting him on the hot seat, but I've been pretty adamant that I think he made some poor choices in the way he reorganized the coaching staff. I was happy that he made those changes in the offseason, getting rid of Tyler Downing, getting rid of the offensive line coach, getting rid of the secondary coach. But the decisions he made and who he replaced those people with don't seem to be panning out. So, at some point in time, either another change needs to be made or an acknowledgement of a mistake has to be made. That's kind of what I'm looking for, more than like saying we got to fire Vrabel. I'm looking for him to have some sort of reaction. There's a lot of people who were like this week. So this week, the Steelers fired their offense coordinator, Matt Canada. And a lot of people were like, look, Titans, you can fire a coach midseason. Look at it. It's possible you can do this. Steelers fans have wanted that guy fired for a lot longer than even the Titans fans wanted Todd Downing fired. So I don't know why so many people are giving the Steelers credit for like, that's what you should do. That's how an organization is run properly, because they've been dragging their heels, doing everything they could not to fire that guy. There's even reports out of like Pittsburgh that their head coach, Mike Tomlin, still didn't want to fire Matt Canada, and like the owner forced him to, basically, which we've seen in the past has happened with ownership here. Amy Strunk got rid of Mike Mularkey because Mike Mularkey refused to fire people that were on his staff. So like the people who were like, oh my God, look at this. Titans could learn a lesson from the Steelers. Steelers fans would tell you, no, he should have fired him 3 years ago. What are you talking about? Don't learn a lesson from us. Don't drag 3 more years out of a guy you should fire right away anyway. And that's also like one of the first times in Steelers history they've ever fired a coach in season. So once again, they're not some shining example of how to properly fire your coaching staff or reorganize your coaching staff. So I don't know where all that came from. Of like, I think people just want something to happen with the Titans, and the fact that anybody else did anything just kind of awoke a little bit of fire in people being like, look, you can't do it. You can't fire a coach. But that's not a great example when it's the team that never fires coaches and an offensive coordinator that the fan base of that team had wanted fired like for like the last 4 or 5 years. Just saying. But yeah, not a lot to say about this specific game just because it's 2 bad teams playing each other. In theory, we should be the less bad team of the 2 bad teams. I'll go 20-10 Titans. That's my score prediction for the game. 20-10 Titans. There you go. That's your score prediction there. All right, we're going to wrap up. We'll go through the entire slate of NFL games. We'll make our predictions for this. Last week, I think, was the first week where I've actually recorded these or documented these, or that I didn't at least have a above 500 record. 6-7 last week. And I really felt like it was one of those weeks where it should have been better. Texans -6. They should have beat the Cardinals a lot more handily than they did. Lost that one. That's one that was stupid. Commanders losing to the Giants and Tommy DeVito. This is why you don't problem gambling is crappy teams like that just are always going to find a way to surprise you and be crappier than they should be. Chargers, that's one where I literally said I shouldn't take the Chargers, and then I said I'm going to take the Chargers, so that's just stupid on me. But yeah, few picks where I feel like I was on the right side, one where I went the opposite of what my brain told me to do, so could have been a better week, but it was 6-7 last week. Be kind of a short week because we've already had 4 games already played this week with the Thanksgiving and then Black Friday slate, but I'm going to pull up what we've got left. We're going to go to DraftKings for our odds. Now, once again, these are not official bets. These are not bets I'm officially making. This is me just looking through the card, saying if I was going to take a side in any of these games, which side would I take? All right, so start off right out of the gate, Titans, Panthers. Titans are 3.5-point favorites, which, I mean, is insane for as bad as we've been to be 3.5-point favorites over anybody, but that tells you how bad the Panthers have been. This line to me should probably be closer to 1.5. But I just said I think the Titans win 20-10. That's clearly more than 3.5. So I would take the Titans -3.5. Probably famous last words. Jaguars, Texans, as everybody predicted, the game that's going to decide who wins the AFC South. Well, it's too early to fully decide, but if the Texans can win this, it's a huge swing for them because they've already beat the Jaguars once. So that would officially lock up the head-to-head, tiebreaker for them over the Jaguars. But then it would come down. I think the Jaguars would still maybe at the moment have the better overall record. I'm not sure about that, but let's see. This isn't showing me the records, but it's Jacksonville on the road at Houston. Jacksonville's 1.5-point favorite. I've got a future bet on the Texans to make the playoffs and a future bet on the Texans to win the AFC South. So based on previous bets, I want Texans to win this game. Also, I hate the Jaguars a lot more than I hate the Texans. And I want the Jaguars to suffer more. Like this, people are predicting them to be a potential Super Bowl team this year. What the heck was that? This is a tough one. This is the hardest one to pick because I definitely want the Texans to win. I definitely think they could win. But the Jaguars looked like they figured some things out last week. They put some things together. The Titans game, great get-right spot for any team that's kind of maybe faltering a little bit. But C.J. Stroud also had his kind of wonky bad game last week against the Cardinals. Maybe he got that out of the way. Heart is saying Texans. Head is saying Jaguars. I don't think my head's very smart, so I'm going to go with my heart. We're going to go Texans +1.5. Steelers, Bengals. Steelers -2.5. Bengals, Joe Burrow out for the season. Something Jeff Browning or something is coming in as their new quarterback there. It's kind of alarming that the Steelers aren't more of a favorite, but I think it's just because their offense has been so bad that nobody can trust them to score enough to be more than a 2.5-point favorite. But I think they could get a new coach bounce with the firing of their offensive coordinator because it's like some of the stuff that's been coming out of Pittsburgh and being said about the coordinator getting fired is very reminiscent of when Josh McDaniels got fired by the Raiders a couple weeks ago, where the players seem to actively not like this guy as their coach. So are they going to bounce back? Are they going to have a little fire lit underneath them now that there's, the guy that they think wasn't doing a good job is gone? I mean, feels like they should definitely win this by at least 3, 4, 5, 6 points or 2.5. I'll take it. Steelers -2.5. Bucks, Colts. Colts -3. They're favorites in this game, I guess, because they're home. But I don't know. Colts are okay. They've done well considering they lost their starting quarterback very early in the season. But I've always kind of liked the Bucks this season. I know they're kind of banged up now. They've got a lot of injuries. I don't know. I like the Bucks here. I'm going to take the Bucks +3. Saints and Falcons. This might be grosser than us versus the Panthers. Just these two teams suck. I don't know. It's Saints 2-point favorite. It's gross. It's I don't know who's playing quarterback for the Saints. Is Derek Carr back out? Is Jameis Winston gonna be the one coming in? Let's just go Falcons. They're at home. We'll take them just purely because they're the home team. I don't know. That game's terrible. Browns at Broncos. Broncos 1.5-point favorite. They've started to put some stuff together. Browns have the best defense in the NFL. That's like dragging them through games, even though they've lost Sean Watson for the season. So they're on like potentially Joe Flacco's brought in to maybe save the day, but I'm gonna go Broncos there because they've been getting a little momentum, starting to put things together. Rams at Cardinals, taking the Rams. Sean McVay always seems to do well against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are not good. Bills at Eagles. This is an interesting one. Eagles coming off a huge win over the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Bills, I believe, are maybe like, were they on a bye last week? I feel like we haven't seen them in a minute. And it looked like they kind of righted the ship the last time they did play against the Jets. At Philly. I think Philly's the best team in the NFL. I've had them at number one on my power rankings for a while. This could be a letdown spot for the Phillies for the Eagles coming off the big win over the Chiefs in Kansas City. I mean, go see the video of like their coach Nick Sirianni talking crap to like Kansas City fans. You can see how much that win meant to them. Is it a letdown spot? Short week, played on Monday Night Football. I'm gonna take the Bills. I don't feel good about it. I don't know. That's more of like if the Eagles win this one, book your trips to wherever the Super Bowl is, Eagles fans. Because if you can avoid the letdown, short week type of spot that you're in here, you've got a good thing going. Chiefs and Raiders. Chiefs 9.5-point favorites. Raiders have been playing better post Josh McDaniels. And I'm taking the Raiders plus 9.5 because the Chiefs, the problems with their offense, the receivers not being able to catch passes, that stuff is all not great. I think they win the game, but I think the fact that their offense has struggled this season, the Raiders have a little bit of momentum going. I don't know that they can win a game by 10 points. I don't know that the Raiders are that far behind, that as inefficient as the Chiefs' offense have been, that they can like blow a team out right now. We could blow out like a really bad team. Like they would kill the Titans if they played them right now. But I think the Raiders are riding a little momentum right now. They can keep it close, but I still think the Chiefs would probably win. But I'll take Raiders plus 9.5. Ravens, Chargers. I got Ravens. I think in my power rankings is the number 2 team in the NFL right now. I think every week I say don't bet the Chargers. Every week I say the Chargers suck. Don't trust the Chargers. They should fire Brandon Staley. But I don't know. The Ravens are almost kind of like Chargers light, where like they're really, really, really good. They're clearly really good. They've got like one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best teams, but they'll still have like a random part of a game. Going to the West Coast. No, don't trust the Chargers. I just talked about this last week when I said I took the Chargers in the Packers game. Taking the Ravens -3. Don't be an idiot. Last game, Monday Night Football, Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings. Vikings 3-point favorite. The Bears strung a couple games together where they've been okay. Blew a lead last week against the Lions. Looks like they've started to try to use Justin Fields in a more way that's better for his, skill set. Vikings got a little fire when they brought in Josh Dobbs. He was good for 2 weeks. Then last week, he looked a little bit more like, okay, this is why he's been a career backup quarterback that's bounced around a little bit. But at Minnesota, saying Justin Jefferson's probably not coming back for this one still. I don't know. I still think the Bears are pretty bad. Let's just go Vikings -3. I don't know. All right. Well, that's it. There's your picks. There's your predictions for the full slate of NFL games we have coming up today. And then tomorrow night's Monday Night Football game. Have I done power rankings? I have to do my power rankings. Not that it matters. I don't know when the last time I updated this was, but let's just go ahead and say what it is. Let me look at this. I'll do a live. Yeah, I haven't updated this since the last little round of games because that definitely would knock some of these teams down from where they are. But let me do a live update on the power rankings. What better way to do a live vlog than by doing this? I think that's probably do this. And this is exciting podcasting right here. Okay, that feels fair enough. I feel like that's a good enough update. All right, here is my updated power rankings starting at the bottom. I think I started at the top last time we did this. Let's go at the bottom. Giants, worst team in football, 32. Panthers, 31. Patriots, 30. Jets, 29. Titans, 28. Bears 27, Falcons 26, Cardinals 25, Chargers 24, Packers 23, Saints 22, Colts 21, Commanders 20, Steelers 19, Raiders 18, Rams 17, Bucks 16, Seahawks 15, Bengals 14, although that's probably going to drop. Vikings 13, Broncos 12, Bills 11, Jags 10, Dolphins 9, Texans 8, Browns at 7, Cowboys at 6, Lions at 5, Chiefs at 4, 49ers at 3, Ravens at 2, Eagles at 1. Kind of feels like maybe the Lions, I probably should drop them a little bit, but because they really kind of pooped the bed against the Packers on Thanksgiving, but we'll leave it as is for now. One last thing, we got our season ticket member gifts this week for being Titan season ticket holders, including the Jeffrey Simmons bobblehead that just came in. So let's unbox it. Bonus content, unboxing live here on the channel. See how the Jeff Simmons bobblehead holds up. I'd imagine like he was probably the only choice they could have made for a bobblehead this year, just because done Derrick Henry already. So outside of like doing one for like a legend, there really wasn't anybody left from the team that really is bobblehead worthy other than Jeff Simmons. Once again, punter Ryan Stonehouse is maybe the only other person you could have done a update for. Or a bobblehead for. Update for. I don't know what that meant. All right. This is weird. Okay. Here it is. Jeff Simmons bobblehead. Looks pretty accurate. These can always range from terrible to good to accurate. This one's pretty spot on. It looks, good representation of good. But look at this. Can you see that right there? It says 2022. It is 2023, right? I'm looking over at my bobbleheads over here on the shelf, and I don't. This is one we already have. We don't have a Jeff Simmons. Let me see. Derrick Henry was last year. Let me go see what year is on Derrick Henry. Well, Derrick Henry that we got last year has 2021 on his. Kevin Byard has 2020. CJ2K is 2019. Terrell Casey is 2018. And now the new one we just got, Jeffrey Simmons, is 2022. So for whatever reason, they seem to be a year behind on those. I don't fully understand what's going on with that. Oh, well, it's a mystery for another day. We will investigate it. I'll do a video about investigating why are the bobbleheads a year off. No, I won't. I probably won't do that. But if I do, it'll be right here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed with the bell turned on for notifications. We got a lot of good content coming up. Like I said, we're going to the Titans game today, so there'll be a vlog out from that tomorrow. Going to Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football. We're going to Monday Night Raw on Monday here at Nashville. There'll be a vlog from that on Tuesday. And then from there, we're going to start rolling out some of the holiday content that we've got coming out. So lots of good stuff coming on the channel. Make sure you stay tuned for all of that. And until the next time, my voice almost went out right here. Live TV, live video, live YouTube. I don't know. Until the next one, enjoy your life.